Okay, so let's talk about, this is a template guide. It follows a template. You put a router bit. See, this is, we'll just go like this. We'll start like this. This is my template, okay? And when I snap this in, this is the one for the 1400, and I snap this in. This basically is, and you've heard them called rub collars too. This follows your pattern or your template, okay? There's your router bit, okay? That's in your router, or pretend it's in your router. Okay, so what we need to talk about, and I grabbed the catalog so we could see this today. And Big D, I think you can zoom in on this. Okay, is when you look at these call-its or these template guides. Okay, sorry I'm calling it a call-it. That's something completely different. This is a template guide. When you look at them, you can see all these measurements. OD, which is for, I'll show you, outside diameter. And ID is the inside diameter. Okay, now, you also have another increment of measurement. It's not in our catalog. It's the height of it, so you know how thick to make your template. What I've done over, like this one right here, I've actually taken something like this, and I've cut it off with a hacksaw and sanded it on a belt sander, just to make sure it's a little bit, because you'll see it would be too proud on something like this. Okay, so I just want to go over that with you. But what you need to know is I've over the years, I've always kind of, I've just discounted the ID. In other words, that's the diameter inside here. The only thing you need to do for me, just to keep it simple, is I know I can't put, like on something like this, I can't put a bit this size. It won't work. So I have to select the right bit to work inside here. Okay, now, there are certain template guides. This is the one for the 1400. It snaps in. It's metric. The ID on this one, I know, because this is the one I use a lot of the time, is 30 millimeters from here to here. Look, I got my calipers here. Look, I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to put the mode on right here, and I'm going to bring it in. Look, see this? It's 30. Oh, actually, let me zero it out. Sorry about that. I'm going a little too fast. I'll zero it out and bring it in. Look, it's 30 millimeter. Okay, perfect. That's what I want to know. Now, this one, okay, is what we call a two-piece template guide. And when we call them two-piece template guides, these are the ones that are really popular here in North America. Is this goes into an opening or a diameter somewhere, and this screws in from the backside to the plate of your router. Okay, now, these, the majority of the time, well, almost everywhere I've looked, are in imperial dimensions. Okay, now I'm not trying to sell you on metric today, but I want to show you how easy this is. Okay, now, we at Festool have to include with all our routers a template guide adapter, where that goes in there and screws in. And the reason for that is, excuse me, you may have a jig that uses these, and included with the jig is a two-piece template guide. So you have to use that, but you want to use a Festool router. That's why we include that. I'll show you a little bit more over here in a minute. There are other templates that you can get that include a template guide. Okay? Oh, whoopsie, a two-piece template guide. Because you have a pre-made template, like here, okay, where it takes something like this, where the supplier gives you the keys or the inlays, and you've got to do there are custom templates. And what that does is when you do this, this fits perfect. They've designed it perfectly for you. But the whole thing is about this is you have to center the template guide. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I want to do this first. I want to talk about how to build a template, but also the dimensions of the template guide. So here's what I'm going to do. And I want you to do a little bit of math for me. I'm going to draw a couple. This is your template guide, okay? And right here, okay, we'll call this the imperial. And this is my metric one, okay? And Big D, I'm going to call you out, because guess what? You're going to be Mr. Metric today, okay? So let's do this. I'm going to measure this for you. And this is very common template guide. I'm going to do this because this isn't fractional or imperial. I'm going to set my mode on this, and Chris, hopefully we can get this. I know this one is, let's do this. Let's put the mode on. It's 51/64. Okay, so when we do that, 51/64, right? Okay, and, oh my God, Brian. Look, 51/64. Okay, now what if we use inside that a 3/8 bit? Okay, so here's what I want to show you. You need to know the distance from here to the outside of that to what? To design your template for the collar, because that piece underneath is what you want. Hopefully you're following me. So what you're going to do is you're going to subtract, let's do this, 3/8 from 51/64 and divide by 2. Go ahead, I'll wait for that. Hey, you know that one? Garrett, subtract 3/8 from 51/64 and divide by 2. Dun, 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 dun. I had somebody one time sit at a counter down in my shop, and he looked at me and said, what is that? So what I did is I took out a calculator that did fractional, and I showed him. He goes, it's not that easy. He was trying to figure this formula out, and it's really easy. And then I showed this dude, his name is Damien. I showed him in metric. Big D, I'm going to have you do this with me.
Okay.
I'm going to use that 30 millimeter template guide, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to put a 10 millimeter bit in there.
Yep.
Okay? Okay, so let's do this. Subtract 10 from 30.
It's 20.
Divide by 2.
10.
From here to here, or the outside of there, is 10 millimeters. Very good.
Woohoo!
Okay, by the way, it is that easy. That's why metric is so easy for me to use. All right? It is easy, right, Garrett? Yes, sir. All right, that's what I want to hear. Let's get this out of here. I took, and I had, this is basically 150 millimeters wide. But what I want to do is I set it on here to make sure it's really flat. I don't want it at a ramp. So what I did is I took another piece of 3/4, the same material, had it back here, and I made sure that the pin is in here, the back groove of the track. So I'm going to set it down here like this, and now I got to set depth. So what I'll do is I'll take it like this. I make sure my cams are nice, and there's no lateral movement in there, and then I'm going to take it, and I'm going to set my depth, and I'm going to use this scale here, okay? I'm going to take this, and you see where it says FS? There's my 3/4 cut, right? But I want to go a little bit shy. So let's take a test cut to see where we're at, and then I can show you how to micro adjust it so you can bend it right off of the veneer, all right? And we'll make some cuts. Now, the thing, yes, you can do this, and then I'll say it again, with a table saw, and you probably have done that out there. But here's the situation. This is a lot safer, but it's a lot quicker, and you'll see why in a few minutes. So I'm just going to take this and do a test cut here so you can see it. Okay, so that's pretty good, but let's look at it. Let's see how we've dialed it in. You can see, okay, that's really close to the veneer. So the things I look at a little bit are, I don't want it too close. When I bend it, I don't want it to transfer through. So I may, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to micro adjust this now. So it's pretty simple. Let's look in here, Chris. Come on. See this right here? This is your micro adjustment. So if I go this way with it, I can bring that depth stop up. If I go the other way, and you can feel it, okay? So what I'll always do is my hands are really big. They're not big. They're just, I got thick. I got 10 thumbs. If we look right on the top here, check it out. That's a 5 millimeter hex, and I can actually dial it in just like that. Okay? So I thought I'd show you. That's why micro adjustment. I'm going to make another cut, and let's eyeball it. I'll bring it right back here. Always do test cuts, everybody. Okay, you're going to see it's a little more stout down there. See how that's closer and that's a little bit thicker? Is that coming through? I can't see out front. Good. I just want to make sure. Yep, just a little bit. I'm looking at it. Yep, it's exactly where I want it, so I'm going to take it like this. I'm going to bring it down, and I'm just going to bring it right over to my Mac here. And here's why I will tell you it's quicker. I can keep the machine running. Now, whenever I've showed people how to do this in classes, they go, how are you indexing? How are you getting it exactly spaced perfectly? I'm not, okay? But what I'll do is I'll take my hand and put it right here, and as I'm running it, okay, I'll just eyeball it. And you get, believe it or not, you get in a pretty good rhythm of cutting. Sometimes I'll push it a little too far, and I'll have to move it back. But if you just creep on it like this, it works pretty good. So I'm going to make that amount of cuts to see where we're at. And I'm going to see the bendability of this. And as you see it, okay, now look. This is why I can tell you, it's a little bit of back and forth. That's not quite enough because you'll see that's not 90. So what I'll do is I'll just bring it back down here and continue for a few more cuts. It's that simple, but it's quick. All right? And the other thing that's unbelievable is there's barely any dust too, right? So I think it's about 2 more cuts. And you know what I'll do? I'll do 1 more for insurance. Woo! So there we go. Always pushing it all the way through. And check, there's your 90.
There it is.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yep.
So, okay, this is no longer available, okay, but this we called the SysUni. It had 3 LEDs here. And Chris, can you shoot this? I'm going to show you. See how it was spot orientated? This is great working around. You had the ability to rotate it. It worked off a battery, and that was it. Okay, it had a hang hook, so you could put it on a 2x4. Then we came out with this. And when I first saw this, this is the KAL1. This is the SysLite one. Okay, now I'm going to try not to shine these right at the camera. Okay, but you have a brightness that's about 30%. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's a reverse on the new one, okay? But this is the original SysLite one. See the brightness of this? You have 6 LEDs, okay? And with that, that's at 100%. You get about 90 minutes of usage on this. It's got a 7.2 battery inside. And this is at 30%, you get 240 minutes. And there's 6 3-watt LEDs. Whew, I'm not going to sleep tonight. That's a lot of information for my brain. But once again, it had, and it came, or still comes with a charger. Okay, 110 charge. You plug it in. Okay, and you can charge it. It's a 7.2 volt. But also included is what? The automotive charger. That is still available because that comes with the what? The new SysLite 2. So I didn't know how we could improve it, but I'll show you some improvements. It still comes with the hang hook. That's removable. And if you want 6 hours of continuous usage, it works with all our 12-volt batteries, lithium-ion, all the way up to 18-volt. Okay, now, the nice thing about it, it's got a 3-year warranty. Okay? And that's a wear and tear warranty. That's a drop it on the ground, throw it around. It's going to be warranted. So when we were doing that in the original SysLite, we had some guy go out and run over it with an F-150 over 100 times.
What?
And yeah, the only thing that was wrong with it, we took it into Leicester and he replaced this little rubber gasket.
Wow.
This is a heavy-duty aluminum case. Okay, but the important thing about it is it acts as a heat sink. You got a lot of illumination coming out of there. Now, this is the newer version. I think we came out with it 3 or 4 years ago. This is the KAL2 SysLite 2. All right, now, everything's basically the same except there's 12 1.5 watts. And in doing that way, the 7.2 volt battery internal went from a 2.4 to a 2.9. So it lasts longer. But here's where I get confused. Right away, there's your bright 100%. Oh, no, I'm sorry. See? It's reverse. So that's 30%. You can see how much brighter it is, right? Then when I hit it again, you'll get 110 minutes on this. And then right here, you'll get 200. Oh, no, sorry. Here I go again. 290 minutes. 110 minutes, but look how much brighter it is. And that's a little bit different. It's 5,000 Kelvin. I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay? And now it'll last a long time if you leave it off. But it still has that 3-year bumper-to-bumper warranty. This light will last forever. Now, a couple of little technical things. When I take this and put it on the ground like this has got a 10-degree cast. Here it's got when I lay it down here, it's got a 20-degree cast, and right here it's a 30-degree. It's all been built in. It also has a 1/4 thread for a tripod mount. Okay, so if you have a regular photography tripod, that'll thread right in there. But what's really cool is there's a set version, and it comes with this tripod mount. And I'm just going to screw that in, and I pretty much at home just leave this on here like this, because on all my sys ports at home, and it's, look, check it out. I could just take that, and it sticks right on there, and I can aim that anywhere. But if I'm working off an MFT and I want a small raking light or task light, look at the magnetic base. You see this right here? There's a little through hole. I can take and put a clamp right there and lock it in. But it also comes with me, follow me on this one, Chris. Woohoo! It comes with this steel washer where I can mount that just like this, okay, on any stud. So there you go. It's very well thought out. There is a set version for this. It might be worth checking out for you. And I want to show right here, so hopefully we can see this. I'm going to hit the light, and you're going to see how it casts out. Okay, it's 170 degrees. Look at that. That'll light a lot. Okay, so I'm just going to set that down. These are the new blades. Same color coding, but guess what came back? Check it out. The blue blade, and that's for aluminum, non-ferrous metals, and really hard plastics. Okay, but we have, and I don't have it here because it's on my saws, the new blade that comes with a saw is a 42-tooth blade. Okay, alternating top bevel. It's yellow. This is the one that's 28 tooth in the middle. That's your universal, and there's your Panther blade. Okay, but we have the other ones, and also for 5%. But here's the kicker. We went with a thinner kerf. It's 1.8 millimeter now. So when you say, wow, that's not a big difference. That's 0.4 millimeter. Holy macanoli. Wait till you see the difference. So I'm going to start full speed. You got it? That way there, it's apple to apples. I'm going to bring it down, and I'm going to make the cut. How am I doing? You got the time? Good. Now, I'm trying to not put too much pressure on here because I want to compare apples to apples. All right? Now, remember, that's pretty much the middle of the blade. Make sure you go all the way past it and bring it up full speed. Big D, what was the time on that?
24:36.
24:36. Okay. So there you go. Now, it's one of my favorite demos anyhow, whether with the new one or the old one. That was you get 90% with the bag. Okay, but check this out. What's 90%? Look at this, everybody. That's a heck of a lot of sawdust, isn't it? Was that an enthusiastic wow?
Oh, wow.
Okay. So there we go. Make sure it's all out of there. Okay. Now, I'm going to set it up with the new saw. Big D, you reset your...
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. Go. And I'm not pushing any harder. Look how much quicker this is. And I want to say it's common sense, but you got less blade in that kerf. Okay, what do we got?
11.54.
11.54.
Now, these times are unofficial, and they are not quite.
This is no longer a riving knife. You see how it sets back? Now, when you look at this, I'm going to get hopefully you can get a visual on it. See, it doesn't line up. And you see how there's a notch in the shoe here? And I'm going to see if we can get a visual this way. It doesn't line up whatsoever with the blade. This is no longer a riving knife. It's an anti-kickback stop. That rides on the rail. Where a typical or our older style cordless track saw, let me take the batteries off so you guys can see this. The riving knife is right in line. Okay? And that's the 2.2 millimeter kerf.